Have you ever asked yourself, how the hell did this person all of a sudden just blow up or just start making a ton of money? Maybe you've like seen someone online just start some sort of business or something like that, and all of a sudden they're just like driving Ferraris, driving exotic cars everywhere and making tons of money. And some of that probably is just a facade and 100% fake, and they're just kind of imitating that they're living this lifestyle. But there's a few people out there that it is actually genuine. They're actually making as much money as they kind of portray that they are. And you kind of ask yourself, how the hell did this person all of a sudden just start making a lot of money? And it just kind of seems like overnight success in sort of a way. And obviously, I'll be honest with you guys, the most absolute reason why this happens to a lot of people that get success is because of persistence and consistency of what they are doing. But there's a couple of things that nobody kind of talks about, and it's kind of like more of like a secret of the trade of running a business and everything, and not too many people talk about this, and that is finding the lowest barrier of entry. Because as you can imagine, just about any business model out there, there's other people trying to do it as well. And there's usually only like a select few that are getting an insane amount of results, and then everybody else is just, they usually don't get anywhere, and then after like a couple months, a couple weeks, they give up and they don't get success. So now why are there these few people that are able to actually have success? And here's like a good example. I don't know what the term is of what these things are called, but like you always see all the time these scooters everywhere, and for some reason, from the top of my mind, I can't remember what they're called. I know like Lyft has one, I forget what the other two are called, but anyways, you start noticing this one company, they just start popping up everywhere, like all over LA, and then they started to show up in all these different cities, all under this one brand, and for some reason I can't think of what it's called. But anyways, they just showed up everywhere. All of these different scooters, and basically it was convenient because you can use them with your phone and be able to do all of these, like be able to ride them everywhere. Oh, they're called Birds. For some reason I couldn't think of that. Birds started showing up everywhere, and then everybody started using it. And then it just seemed like everybody else started to catch on, and there's like a couple other companies that are starting to make scooters inside of this business. Obviously, the company of Bird got away with being able to make a ton of money up front and kind of giving them a lot of leverage to show up in basically like every city over the country with their scooters. And obviously there's like a lot of controversy, a lot of different things that happen with them being banned in different cities and everything. But out of all the companies that got into the scooter game, or whatever you want to call it, they ended up having the most success was the Bird company, because they were there first. They got in at the lowest point of barrier. They had the lowest barrier of entry. They had them everywhere. They were able to get in and just start putting them everywhere because there wasn't really any competition for it. They just found an idea and were able to have the most amount of success. And then these other companies started. Now, if you or I were to try to get into trying to put scooters in every single city all over the country, we would have a hell of a hard time start turning in good margins to be able to make this a success. It would take a long time to see a return on our investment, because we're getting into it pretty late in the game, because there's like a pretty high barrier to entry. You probably got to go through all these different regulations and buy all these scooters and get it set up in all these different cities, and we have to get this all figured out up front. It's going to cost a lot of money. Whereas when Bird started it, they probably had a lot less hoops to jump through. Yeah, probably they had to figure out how to patent the design and everything like that, but there wasn't all these problems that came up, and there wasn't really any competition. They were their own competition. That was it. It was just them, and then all these other scooters started to show up, and it probably took a lot more work for them to show up. And so where am I getting with all of this? Is it's not necessarily that you have to come up, be the most creative, and be the person that comes up with a new business model, someone that can come up with a new way of making money. No, that's not the case. What you need to do is come up with a creative way inside of your market to be able to have success. And what you got to do is kind of have your eyes wide open and find the lowest barrier of entry into you having success. And so what does that mean? For like, let's say that you're trying to get into real estate wholesaling. You need to find the lowest barrier of entry for you to be able to get success and have results quickly. Now here's the thing as well, it's kind of easy to realize that you're not in the lowest barrier of entry, because any business model out there, whatever the strategy is, even if it's like some sort of MLM or even like, which I don't really recommend, but wholesaling, Shopify, Amazon FBA, there's like tons and tons of business models out there. What you got to do is, like, all of them work. The thing is, like, you can get results, you can have success in any of them. Like, you could start right now on email marketing. Email marketing, one of the oldest tactics business models out there. You go out there and have success, but you're not going to have the same amount of success or the speed of getting results as someone did in like the early 2000s when email marketing was a big thing. Now it's gotten a lot harder. You can still get success and results, but you got to be a little bit more creative. You got to be a little bit more intelligent, put more work into it. And so with this, with real estate wholesaling, there's a lot of different marketing strategies. There's a lot of different ways to go out there and do deals. And not all of these different strategies have been discovered in every single market. So what you can do is find the lowest barrier of entry for your market. Now, obviously, like, I'm not really recommending that you just go way out of your way to be able, like, just only find the lowest barrier of entry and take action then. What you got to do is, like, start taking action, start going out there and trying to produce results. But as you kind of just, you get yourself used to being able to, like, just in the market, trying to do deals, trying to hustle, taking action, trying to get results, you'll start seeing all these different opportunities pop up. You'll start noticing, hey, if I go this way, then I could probably, like, no one else is trying it, I could test it out and see if it works. Like, let's say social media marketing. No one ever does social media marketing inside of your market for real estate wholesaling and find motivated sellers. If you're the first person in your market to do that, no, like, you're gonna get so many leads that nobody else is even like remotely touched because nobody else tried social media marketing inside of your area. But the only way to discover that one of these marketing strategies is untouched is by you just going out there, testing different things, keeping your eyes wide open, see what everybody else is doing, and then do something different, but at the same time, do something alike as everybody else. And so this is kind of me just thinking out loud. I know some of this probably didn't make sense. I'm just kind of thinking out loud in this video, but you gotta find the lowest barrier of entry, and then here's where it gets a little tricky. This is where, like, you end up kind of establishing yourself and really becoming the biggest player of the game. So once you find the lowest barrier of entry, once you start getting success, what you got to do is start raising the barrier and making it more difficult for others to be able to get into what you are doing. So let's say that you come across social media marketing and you decide that that's the best strategy for your real estate wholesaling business. Then what you need to do is make it so no one else can replicate your strategy, or make it as hard as possible for other people to replicate your strategy for whatever marketing strategy it may be inside of your market. And basically you just start having all of these leads, having all this money gravitate towards you. And what you do with that momentum really depends on where you're gonna end up at the end of the day. So if you're in like a super competitive market and then all of a sudden you have a little bit of momentum, just keep fueling yourself off of this momentum and just keep pushing and keep increasing the momentum more and more and more. Eventually it'll get to the point where it just, everything, like, everybody just starts to know, like, hey, if I need to sell my house, I need to go to this person. Like, I've seen those guys' ads literally everywhere, and as you just keep raising the barrier of entry, it's gonna become harder and harder for other people to do deals inside of your market, and that means that you're making more money. So figure out the lowest barrier of entry and raise the barrier. I know I probably didn't make the most amount of sense in this video. I'm just trying to think out loud with kind of like the concepts, tying it into real estate wholesaling, because this was actually given to me with a different business model, but it actually applies to any business model, and I just was kind of realizing it. But it really, anybody, it doesn't take a genius to, once you figure out the lowest barrier of entry and you just start going hard on that one route, on that one strategy, you're gonna start seeing success eventually. And as you start getting success, it's gonna kind of just blow up in front of you. So anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Hope you all enjoyed it. Smash the like down below and subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.